right, at this point, I would like to invite the presidential and vice presidential candidates to the podiums here, starting with Andrew and Daniel Breaux on the left, and Tommy Letchworth and Max Goldman in the middle, and Jasmine Roque and Tori Uehara on the right. Thank you. All right. Each of the presidential candidates will be given a 5-minute opening speech. After that, we will have 5 questions that we will field to each of the candidates. They can each respond with 3 to 5 minute answers. After that, we will have a 5-minute closing statement. And after that, we will have any questions from the crowd can be asked to the candidates directly. So, I would like to start off with the opening statements, starting on the left with Andrew.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I know a lot of folks out there, and there's some others that I don't know yet, but I look forward to getting to know you in the future. Basically, why we're running for president and vice president. This is a really great place. It's a great school. I've had the pleasure of serving as the Speaker of the Senate and the Campus Life and Housing Senator for the last 14 months or so. I've gotten to know the folks in the residence halls very well, and they've become very close to me. When I first came here, I was a very quiet person, I'll say that. But over my time of being involved in ASSOU, I've really stepped out of my shell, and I've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of really great folks out there. And I remember my first class, globalization actually, it was winter term last year. One of my teachers said that the majority of learning you do on campus doesn't take place in a classroom. It's other activities on campus, the organizations that you can be involved in, the people you get to meet, and I firmly, firmly believe that. So what we're running for is to make this school a better place for the students that want to have that campus experience, that want to have the experience like I did, where you meet a lot of great folks and get to do something really great and contribute something back. This school has given me more than I can say. I've developed great relationships, and the folks here as well mean a lot to me. And I want to continue that and do what I can to make sure that the rest of the students that come in the years after us have those same opportunities, especially improving ASSOU's visibility on campus. And I know that's a question later in the debate, but it's very important that students know that we're here for them, and we're here to serve them, and we can do a lot for them, but they need to know what we can do. And it's a very personal decision that I've made to run for president. I know Daniel's given it a lot of thought. And we've already gone through the second guessing, but we're sure about this, you know. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. Just one step after another, ride the wave, and this is where it's at. And we're very passionate about our job, and we really want to take that to the next level to serve students.
Thank you. That was Andrew Insulin, representing Andrew Insulin and Daniel Breaux. Now we'll hear from Tommy Letchworth.
Hello everyone, as you may have heard, my name is Tommy Letchworth and I'm running for the position of Student Body President of Southern Oregon University. I've spent all 3 years thus far of my college career at ASSOU, and I plan to make this place my alma mater when I graduate at the end of next year. You know, in my time here, Ashland has become my home, and the ASSOU community has become a family of sorts. Originally, I came here planning to transfer out after the first 2 years, but well, little did I know that I'd become so attached to this place. I'd like to make something perfectly clear to all of you here tonight and all of you checking in from your homes. See, I'm not running for student body president to bolster my resume. I don't really care about the title. I don't care about the power, and I sure as hell don't care about the pay. No, I believe that we need to care about each other. And I can say with certainty that I care about all of you, whether I know you or not. I care about your ability, about our ability to have access to affordable and quality higher education. I care about the faculty here who bust their asses every day, who've dedicated their lives to a career where they're over worked, and underpaid just to have the opportunity to teach the leaders of the present and the leaders of the future. Ladies and gentlemen, something that must be understood is that we live in a volatile world, a world very different than the one that our parents and grandparents grew up in. The cost of education is skyrocketing as our services and programs are systematically being cut. It's about time that we reverse this trend, and Max and I see the executive branch in the office of President and Vice President of Southern Oregon University as the best vehicle to address these problems. Now, I like and I respect all of the candidates in this election very much. I think that everyone running are intelligent and dedicated individuals, but I can only speak for myself. And when it comes down to it, I know myself, and I promise you that if you see fit to elect Max and I, we will work day in and day out for you. My cabinet will work tirelessly on your behalf, and we will fight for you. We will listen to you. We will advocate for you, and we will work for each and every one of you personally. Holding the role of student body president is not a job that I will take lightly. It is a profession, and it is something that my cabinet and I will treat with all of the professionalism it deserves. Next year, we plan to implement some substantive solutions in order to address a variety of issues that affect SOU students from the micro to the macro level. The Rogue Valley has an unconscionably high rate of DUIs and sexual assaults. And so we plan on establishing the SOU Safety Shuttle as a way to help address this problem. We already have vehicles and we already have funding for student work study. Additionally, we'll be cultivating relationships with the City of Ashland, with the Ashland Police Department, with the Chamber of Commerce, and the Department of Transportation to free up additional funding for this program so that students aren't forced or aren't faced with the only option of driving home drunk or walking home alone in a dark night. See, we're all about fostering community, both on and off campus. And this will be a recurring theme within my administration. We'll work to change the culture of campus public safety so as to make them allies and advocates for students and not ticket-giving automatons. We'll work to allow SOU students to use the MAC computer labs in RCC so that SOU students who live in Medford, Gold Hill, and Grants Pass don't have to drive all the way to Ashland just to work on a computer to do homework. We'll continue our work around sustainability, further supporting the construction and implementation of the Student Sustainability Center and the farm on campus. And we'll continue our commitment to sustainable investment and divestment from fossil fuels. We'll create the position of Director of Campus Relations to organize town halls where you as students can talk to your faculty and administrators about problems and issues that you face in your departments. And we'll create the position of Director of Community Relations to be our student ambassador within the Rogue Valley to the Rogue Valley business community to identify, promote, and strengthen job opportunities, internship opportunities, and research opportunities for our students while they're in school and after they graduate. You see, we have the experience, we have the drive, and we have the vision, and with your help, we will foster community, we will build bridges, and we will make this institution a better place for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And now an opening speech from Jasmine Roquet.
Thanks. Hi everyone. So my name is Jasmine. I'm a junior here at Southern Oregon University. I'm currently the Director of Multicultural Affairs for ASSOU, one of the co-chairs for the Oregon Students of Color Coalition. And I'm also a member of the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. I moved here, I'm out of state, so I moved here from Idaho in 2010 and began attending Southern Oregon University as a full-time student that fall. I'm a first-generation college student, and as a Latina and as a woman, I have seen and experienced a lot of the barriers that limit the opportunity and advancement of not only individuals, but of families and of entire communities. The opportunity for me to study is a privilege, and it is something that I do not take for granted, not any moment of my day. Because I know that there are a lot of people that do not get this opportunity, and it has really given me the ability to really grow as a human being, and I think that that is something that everybody should have, and public education provides that for students, and I want it to continue to provide that for students, not only in the Rogue Valley, but across the state of Oregon and across this country, because, you know, we continually say as a society that we value education, but I have yet to see us put our money where our mouth is as long as I've been a student here. So we're really working to advocate again for more state funding. We recognize that the issues that we face on our campuses and a lot of the grievances that students have expressed to us stem from that disinvestment from older, our legislators in our schools. So we know that is an issue that we're going to be working on next year. Secondly, let's see, let me take a look at my notes. Sorry, y'all make me so nervous. Apart from, you know, working on the systemic issues at a state level, as a campus, Toria and I are really tackling a lot of the issues from a social justice perspective, and we know that the fight for justice is not exclusive. Student issues are queer issues, and queer issues are women's issues, and women's issues are racial issues, and your story is my story, and our stories are important. And don't ever let anybody tell you anything different, because, you know, we can change policy and we can change laws, but I have seen time and time and again that it is your stories that change people's hearts, and true change and lasting change comes from, you know, looking at ourselves and really changing ourselves. And as a community, we're working to create safer spaces on campus for everybody, not only students of color or queer students, but also creating spaces where student veterans feel like they are empowered, where student parents feel like they are empowered and not struggling to, you know, pay for their to pay for childcare, but also to pay for tuition, where students are struggling to you know, pay for food or pay for tuition or pay for their textbooks. We really recognize that a lot of these issues are deeply felt, not only widely felt, and so we want to represent all students and empower you all, because we're not going to be here forever, and we know that ultimately your issues are not only carried by us, but they're carried by you, and we want you all to continue to fight and empower yourselves and work continue this work not only as students and student leaders, but also out in the world when you're all part of the community, as community leaders, and just as people in general, with the things that you've learned here, and the people that you've made connections with, to continue to support each other out in the bigger world, I guess. So, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, on to our next segment. These are questions that were delivered to us online from students. I'll have 5 questions to ask here. I'll first propose the question to one of the candidates, and we'll go down the table. Each of the candidates can answer the question between 3 and 5 minutes in length, and then we'll move on to the next question once each of the candidates have answered that. Let me start with Tommy. Are you just doing this to pad your resume? If not, why do you really want to be president? 3 to 5 minutes, Tommy.
So, as I mentioned in my introduction, I am not doing this just to pad my resume. No, the reason why I'm doing this is because the office of student body president, the executive branch, is a vehicle for action. It's a vehicle for change. And it's a vehicle that, if harnessed correctly, we, the students, can use this vehicle to implement change where it matters. Change in terms of tuition, change in terms of services, change in terms of a quality education. The reason why I am running for student body president is because others cannot. Because Max and I, and I'm sure all of you have had friends who've had to drop out, who've had friends who've had to take a break to work a job, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, so that they can start paying back their student loans before they can even think about taking out another 10 grand, another 20 grand, another 30 grand. The reason why I'm running for student body president is to help the students of this university and to help the community in which we're housed.
Thank you, Tommy. And Jasmine.
I mean, I kind of mentioned this like in my introduction, but I think that my passion for advocacy and education really stems from like my own experience and just working with underrepresented communities or traditionally marginalized communities in the sense that, again, often I don't see a lot of folks getting this opportunity, and I really think that it is something that everybody should have regardless of socioeconomic status. And I think that as Tori and I were kind of talking about like our roles or the roles of student body president and vice president, really our definition of it kind of stems from a spirit of service. We're not really here to lead students, we're here to serve students as representatives and also as leaders. We recognize also that, again, the work that we all do is not carried by us, but it's ultimately carried by you all. And empowering you all to have ownership of those issues is really at the cornerstone of our platform and our campaign. And I guess for me, student body, I guess running for student body president, I don't know, this is the first year that I've actually had a position in student government, and this work just really means a lot to me, and I have really actually just found like family here and community here doing this work, and I'm really just humbled and honored constantly by you all and your stories. Just attending the rally last week reminded me of why I do the work that I do. So I just again want to thank everyone for sharing your stories and having the courage to do that. If you all went to the rally, it was truly amazing. And I just, there's nothing like seeing people realize their true potential to create change. And that's kind of where Tori and I are coming from, is empowering you all to really see that potential in yourselves.
Thank you. Andrew, would you like to answer the question?
Absolutely. So the best way for me to answer this is really from the heart. If any one of us were trying to do this just to pad a resume, quite frankly, there are much better opportunities on campus to do that. Less time intensive, less stressful, better sleep at night, but still just as nice. But that's not why we're doing it. I know that's not why I'm doing it. This is something that really means a lot to us, and I know I can speak for the other candidates as well on this. That we have a lot of passion involved in this. My position as the Senate Speaker, I really became aware this year just what we're capable of doing as a student government and working for students. We have a lot of resources at our disposal. You know, students have a tremendous resource in us to advocate for them to administration on issues like tuition and the student fee process, things that really impact a lot of people that they're not always aware of. And that's what we need to fix. You know, I really believe very much in you know, an enlightened voting population, an enlightened democracy, I suppose, if you want to say that. But that students need to know we need to work better to make students aware of what we do on campus. We give away nearly $4 million in student fee dollars every year to fund every club and organization on campus, the entire SU building, half of the athletics budget. I mean, that's students' dollars. But are students aware that we're spending their dollars on that process? You know, and that's part of why we're doing this, is to spread that education, that awareness of what we're doing, so students are aware of just what we're doing, you know. Our ASSOU budget alone is nearly $250,000. Why not make the expense report public, you know, say twice a term, so students are aware of what we're spending their money on, conferences, food, travel, whatever, but it is student dollars. Where's the accountability? And that's something that we're really focused on. Both Daniel and I believe very strongly that we can do a great job of making students aware of what's going on campus. And that's the motivation, is ultimately all three of us are doing this because it's for the students, that we believe in this is what's best for them. I think we're all very aware that, at least I have as well, working very closely with Josh Danielson, our current president, that the hours you put in, you're not going to get them back in any way except the reward of knowing that you're helping people. They're gone. You know, that's your life. It is a job. It is very much a full-time job, and I think we're aware of that. I can't say any more than that we're doing this for the right reasons.
Thank you. And believe me, that was actually one of the least snarky comments I got online, as it turns out. But now the next questions I have here, these are more applied questions, and I think that it might stimulate what kind of policy you are going to try to implement. Starting with a question that said, given the fact that our tuition has been raised over 15% during my 2 years at ASSOU, I'm not sure that I will be able to continue to attend next fall. What would you do to protect students like me from another tuition increase next year? And I'll start with Jasmine.
Great. Yeah, so we kind of addressed the rising tuition costs as a systemic issue kind of earlier in our my opening statement, and disinvestment from the state. So we know that advocacy, our advocacy work has to not only be on a campus level when it comes to the tuition setting process, but also on a state level when it comes to funding for our schools. More specifically, right now there's actually a bill floating around the legislature that students are closely watching. It would work to, it's already sort of institutionalized at Western Oregon University. It's called the Western Promise. And right now they're working to institutionalize it at all public universities in Oregon. But essentially what it is it would be guaranteed, your tuition would be guaranteed for up to 4 years at a certain amount. And so essentially what that would do is, allow for students to plan a little bit better. They know exactly what their tuition is going to cost every year. Initially, it'll be a little bit higher than what traditional freshmen or incoming students would be paying, but it is an option for students to opt into so that you all can plan better and receive, plan your work and plan your financial aid around that tuition cost that you will be guaranteed for 4 years. Secondly, students who their tuition all of a sudden increases, we're also always working to increase need-based financial aid at a state level. So the Oregon funding for the Oregon Opportunity Grant right now, 80% of students that qualify for that grant don't receive it, and honestly that's just unacceptable. But again, that goes along with financial aid playing catch-up to rising tuition costs, and we don't want to see that. So we want to lower tuition costs, but also raise financial aid so that the students that definitely need that the most are able to access that aid and don't have to drop out of school, or that they're receiving the other services that they need, like childcare or whatever else that they may require as a student, so that they're able to do the work that they study instead of like being at work for 30 hours a week in order to pay for school and kind of flunking out of their classes. So there's a lot of things that go along with ensuring that students are able to stay in school, but also to ensuring that students are able to succeed while they're in school. So we're going to be looking at it from both of those angles, not only on a campus level, but also on a statewide level.
Thank you. And Andrew.
All right. Well, again, I have to give a lot of props to ASSOU for putting together the rally on Thursday. I think that we could all say it was a success. We had about 70 students from SOU show up and the 600 from around the state. That was an incredible turnout for a very important and very tangible issue. So what we need to do is we need to keep working with, OSA. I can't give enough props to Sarah, our OSA campus organizer, who's done a fantastic job at what she's done to help plan these rallies and plan these events and bring awareness to what's going on campus. We can work very closely with OSA at the state level to keep pressuring lobbyists, to lobby state legislators, to put more money into higher education. It's common sense. It's something we've all been working very hard on this, but that's the right thing to do. In regards to tuition here at the school, I mean, a lot of the problems originate at the state, and that's where we need to focus on that front. But we also work with administration every year, setting tuition rates. They were up to a 5.8% tuition increase this next year, and we got them down to a 5.2. Depending on how much money we get from the state this summer, that could change and hopefully be a lot lower, less next year. I mean, it really does hurt students. I know I felt it. We talk about student debt. I'm going to be graduating with 30 grand in student debt. I really am. I looked at my tuition statement, and it's incredible. I'm really not sure what I'm going to be doing to pay that off. But I know I'm not the only one. There's a lot of folks out there that, you know, this really touches them in a very personal place. You know, it's a month's groceries. I know there are some excellent stats, you know, about just what this is causing students. We can't raise enough awareness on this issue, honestly, and it's something we need to keep doing. But we need to focus not just on the state, but also here on campus as well. We have a very good working relationship with administration, and we can keep that up. I know they respect us, and we come with the students' perspective, they come with their perspective. We'll find a balance. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Tommy.
You know, I really appreciate that this question was asked because, quite frankly, rising tuition and diminishing services is the paramount, the focal issue of our time and our people. You know, something that Max and I have talked about a lot, our campaign slogan, right, is building bridges. And what we intend to do, how we intend to build bridges, is we really want to foster community. We want to foster relationships, working relationships between the different stakeholders on campus. OSA, I work with OSA, I sit on the board of directors, I've worked with Jasmine and Tori and Sarah throughout the year, is a great organization. But they're just one of the stakeholder groups. It's just students. The thing that we need to realize is that rising tuition is a big issue. And it's an issue that's decided up in Salem, in the capital, on the state level. So what Max and I are proposing, what we would like to do, what we would like to see, what we will do next year, is sit down. The first thing we'll do once elected is sit down with administrators, sit down with key faculty, sit down with the SEIU workers, and talk. Realize that we're in this together. Realize that if this institution goes down, when this institution is suffering, we are all suffering. Higher education is a value. It's a public good. It's something that benefits society. And so we'll be building bridges not only within the campus to better leverage our collective power in the capital, but we'll build bridges with the community and let the community realize that, yeah, actually SOU is the #1 employer in Ashland. And if this institution goes down, then Ashland is going to suffer. We'll build bridges with the other campuses and encourage them to work with the administration, encourage them to work with their faculty, to work together so that we can all go to the Capitol with a larger voice, with a stronger voice, with collective action. That's the way that will bring down tuition costs. That's the way that will actually do something concrete and help students, is by working together and building bridges.
Thank you. And for the next 3 questions, if we limit responses just to 3 minutes each, I think we've all been really good with time so far. The next question that I'm going to direct at Andrew first is, how are you going to give ASSU a better campus presence?
Well, I mean, this is what our entire campaign is about, is the fact that we have a very poor visibility as a student government on campus. We do a lot of great stuff on campus and at the state, but not a lot of students are aware of what we're doing. I mean, as I said before, the allocation of the student fee dollars, of setting tuition rates, of keeping up with what's going on with prioritization on campus, very serious stuff, but not a lot of students are aware of what we're doing, and we don't go to students asking them what they want to see us do. And again, I mean, this is something I've talked a lot about in the last few days, and I mean, this is what we're running on, is better presence on campus. You know, so for example, EPIC, they have an assessment director who has a survey on a tablet, and they get hard data for their events. They know what students think about their events. They know what sort of turnout they had, and they can use that data to evaluate how well the event went and plan for future events in the future. Why doesn't ASSU do that? It seems very simple and very common sense, but let's reach out to students and find out what they want us to see us do. We can have a laundry list of ideas, but ultimately, at the end of the day, it's us deciding what we want to do because we know what's best for students. And that's not how it should be. It should be going to students and asking them, what do you want to see us focus on as your student representatives? We're here to serve you, not us. So what do you want to see us focus on? But there's a way to get that information, but we're not focusing on it. We're very focused at the state, which is very important, but we're neglecting our own campus to a certain extent. Why are so many students in the dark about what we're doing? You know, we do a lot of stuff. As I said, our budget is extensive, but we need to do a better job of communicating with the students. So we had a tabling program earlier this year. I think it started out very well, but it sort of dropped off a little bit, and that's on us as well. And Kyle headed that up, and you did a great job on that, honestly. But we need to have more visible, just be out there as student officers, be at the meetings that other students are going to. I go to RHA meetings, Residence Hall Association meetings every Wednesday, and 3 different area councils. My Wednesday night, I have 4 meetings in 2 hours. But all I do is inform students about what we're doing. I have the experience of doing that. Go to ICC meetings. You know, they meet Wednesdays at 4 in the arena. But there's a lot of students there that can be informed about what's going on. But we need to do a little bit better job of doing that. So I mean, what I'd like to do is take what I've learned as the housing senator and apply that to a larger level. We can do this at the campus level. I mean, it takes the focus to do it, and not being entirely focused on one thing or another. We need to be able to be in several places at once, and we can do that. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Tommy.
So one of the first things that I would have my administration do is go out for the first 2 weeks of school, stand outside the ASSOU, stand outside Cascade Dining, stand outside Green Springs in the high traffic areas, and introduce themselves to people. Shake hands with people, get FaceTime with the students that they work for. You know, the only way that students are really going to understand who we are and what we do for them is if they meet us, if we talk to them. And I haven't seen that happen. I've only been in student government for about a month now as the Director of Governmental Affairs. And this is something that's really irked me since I came here as a freshman, actually, is the fact that our student government isn't visible. So what I would do, one, is, as I said, have our directors, and I can't control the Senate, but I would encourage them to do the same. Go out, meet people every day for 2 weeks. Tell those people to tell their friends, tell those friends to tell their friends. We might even wear shirts. This year they say, you know, hey, keep calm, we got your back. Next year it might say, hey, ASSOU, ask us what we do for you. Please, because we're here to work for you, and we want to know what you want. We want to know what your needs are. The other part, and I know I'm almost out of time here, is that I'll be hiring on, and we'll be looking at the budget and moving things around, but I'll be hiring on a director of campus relations. And what this person will do is they'll work with the departments, they'll work with the senators, facilitating town hall discussions where students can come and sit down with their faculty, sit down with their administrators in their department, and sit down with the students in student government who are supposed to be representing them so they can ask us questions and they can figure out what we do, and we can figure out what they want, what you want, and what you need. Thanks.
Thank you, Tommy. Jasmine.
Cool. This question was kind of weird to me initially, mostly because it made me think of a quote that a friend always tells me, and he says, you know, if you're doing something right, people will think you're not doing anything at all. And the reason that I say that is just because, you know, I think that ASSOU visibility, yeah, definitely could use a little bit of work, but mostly it just stems from the fact that I think one of the coolest things that we do as a student government, one of the most powerful and amazing things that we're charged with doing is allocating the student fee. And at the cornerstone of our platform is empowering students. And we really want to use the student fee not only to help ASSOU get a better name on campus, but also to help empower you all, because I mean, the student fee has been around, I think, for over 100 years in the United States. It's mandated by Oregon law that students have control over their student fees, and that is just a really cool statement. And I think that something really cool that the student fee comes out of is that students, you know, its evolution comes from the demands of students, you know, wanting educational activities and wanting opportunities outside of the classroom. And I think that streamlining our processes, making it more transparent, making it easier for you all to do the things that you all want to do, to pursue your passions, to have your ideas heard on this campus. And for us to help you all achieve that is not only going to help boost ASSOU presence on our campus, but it's going to empower you all to accomplish the things that you all want to do, which is ultimately what Tori and I have been working on doing, is serving you all. And we think that that's probably the best way to do it. Kind of another quote that I thought of was, as leaders, we want to have our organizations do more so that we can do less. Not necessarily pawning work off on you all, but again, it is about that empowerment and the ability to take ownership over your own issues. And we have student fees to do that. And because student fees have traditionally just been under attack, is that one? Okay, good. Under attack by other organizations at a legislative level, on a judicial level, students must also look for ways to protect the student fee. So we're not only helping you all allocate it, but as student government, we're also helping protect it to make sure that we have stronger, more autonomous fee, so that again you all can do the work that you all would like to do, and that we can help you all accomplish that.
Thank you. And next question, this will go directly to Tommy. What experience do you have working with the administration and institutions across the state, and how will you apply that experience to our increasing tuition?
Well, I feel like I'm probably going to be repeating myself here, but I guess I'll start with my experience. So this year I've had the pleasure of sitting on the University Planning Board with the CFO of the institution, with the provost, Jim Klein, with the chair of the Faculty Senate, Jody Waters, and a lot of the big players on campus. And in the conversations that I've had with them throughout this year and last year, pretty much everyone's on board with lowering tuition. I mean, no one wants to see tuition go up. No one wants to see our programs and services get cut. This prioritization process that's going on, which I don't know how many of you all are aware of. Can I see a raise of hands? How many people have heard of the prioritization process? Okay, how many of you are not in student government and have heard of the prioritization process? Keep your hands up. Okay, so see, that's a problem. The prioritization process is something we're going through right now, where basically each department, each person on campus employed by ASSOU is forced to file a report justifying their existence. That's something that's very humiliating for our faculty. And it's something that I wish didn't have to be done, but does in our current climate. So that aside, no one wants to see tuition go up, and no one wants to see services get cut. Everyone is ready to sit down at the table and start having an honest discussion about what we can do. What can we do, both here at the institutional level and at the state level, to bring tuition down? We've been having those conversations with our administrators and faculty as of last year. We've continued those conversations throughout this year. And if you all see fit to elect me as student body president and Max as vice president, we'll be in a position with a title, with power, where we can actually begin to implement some of these changes, and hopefully, I got my fingers crossed, we can actually do something concrete and help all of you afford this public education.
Thank you, Tommy. Jasmine.
Okay. Experience. Well, I think that I've served on a lot of different committees and with a lot of different students over the past couple of years. And one thing that has continually come up, I guess, in my experience that I've noticed is that students, traditionally don't have a lot of institutional power within a lot of these spaces. So, we organize to get that power. We organize at a state level. We registered 50,000 people to vote this last election cycle, which was awesome. Yes, snap, snap. I definitely agree. Largest nonpartisan voter registration drive in Oregon history, by the way, so congratulations, you all. A lot of the work that we do also has to do with lobbying. And, we lobby administrators, we lobby legislators, we lobby each other on our issues. Hey, come to Salem. It's like, oh, no, I don't want to. Hey, come to our meeting. It's like, oh, no, I don't want to. And so effective lobbying is definitely something that we have a lot of experience with as candidates. Lobbying is also about relationship building. And so over the past few years, I've been, working at the Capitol, working with administrators, and have really built built a lot of good relationships that will not only help students build that institutional or organize to build institutional power, but also we know what it takes to help build those skills so that you all have the ability to attain those skills as well. Again, like I said before, we're not going to be here forever, and we need you all to continue building those relationships and to continue building that power so that we can make sure that students are always at the table when decisions are being made that are going to affect them, and that all students are at that table, all student voices, you know, student parents, student veterans, people of color, queer students, people with disabilities, just students in general, so that we can make sure that we're representing everybody adequately.
Thank you. Andrew.
All right. Well, one of the pleasures I've had is, in serving as my position as Speaker of the Senate is that I have met a lot of administrators on campus. And they're not scary people. They have hearts. But you have to meet them, and you have to be in those meetings with them, and that's what I've done. I've been in those meetings with Craig Morris, the VP for Finance, or Jim Klein, the Provost. You know, where we're deciding student fee dollar amounts and what students are going to pay next year. Andrew, what do you think? Andrew, what do you think Senate's going to think? Well, Andrew, can we do this? Like, okay, you know, that's a working relationship, and I have that. And that's something that I take a lot of pride in, and it's not to be wasted or misused, but it's been very interesting. Even Mary, I've had the honor of talking with her for a little bit. She's kind of hard to get a hold of sometimes, but they're very good people. They just have a perspective on running the university, and we have ours for representing students. And there's somewhere in between. But the leadership that I've attained as being the speaker is something that I think is invaluable to the position of being the president, is having that established relationship. The previous Speaker of the Senate was not nearly as involved. I worked to make my position involved in those discussions with administration, to make the Senate's presence known, to make the opinion of the Senate, who are the student representatives, along with the President, to make their opinions known to administrators that this is what students want. And that's what I've worked very hard at doing this year. And I plan on taking that on to the position of President if we're elected. Daniel served on the Student Fee Committee. He's been in a lot of those same meetings with Craig, with allocating student fee dollars. We have the experience. And ultimately, I think that's what this comes down to. It's a very good question. You know, what are your standing relationships with administration? How can you apply that? Well, I think the answer to that is very well. We're in a very good position, and we're very excited at the prospect of being able to work closer with administrators on the interests of students, because ultimately it is about students, and money's never an easy issue, especially in this time when budgets are being cut, when prioritization is going through and allocating or prioritizing into quintiles, you know, every department on campus. It's not an easy thing. And frankly, it just sucks. It really sucks, because some people are not going to come out of it in the best position. But we need to make sure that students are protected in the process. And that's what we're here for. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and this is our last question. This question focuses more specifically about your office, should you hold it, and what it's going to do, what changes it's going to make on campus. What changes are you most excited to tackle on campus? Going to Jasmine first.
Changes. Well, we're just excited in general, but I think that some of the key things that we're definitely going to be working on is, you know, continuing to ensure that you know, student athletics has sustainable funding. Every year we have issues when it comes to the student fee process and athletics, and we're really looking to have them have sustainable funding, whether that be maybe looking at an endowment or other ways, ticket sales, revenue sales, if that's possible, or having it be both, some sort of subsidizing some of that funding, and how we can help kind of coordinate that. And then again, ASSOU is the flagship institution, public institution for the arts of the OUS system. And being just a former theater major myself, and I still consider myself an artist, I think that creativity especially is important in leadership, especially in student government, really getting to that human level and connecting with people when it comes to these issues that are affecting them. I think it's definitely something that ASSOU needs. It will help improve, again, the visibility and also engage a lot of those students on our campus that aren't traditionally engaged in these issues. And then finally, we're just, I guess I'm most excited about working with students that, you know, really just like, I mean, over the past few years, I've just been working with students that have really inspired me every day. Working with Tori, working with these folks up here, working with you all. That's probably what I'm most excited about, and working to really engage you all and have you all take ownership over your own issues and empowering you all. Because if there's one thing that I've learned over the past few years is that I've met some of the most brilliant, passionate people that I have ever met, and you know, there really is no power like the power of students, because the power of students don't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of students, because the power of students don't stop.
Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of students, because the power of students don't stop.
Say what?
That's it.
Thank you. Andrew.
All right, well, I think that this, for us, for our platform, it's less about changing what's already in place, but strengthening what we have. Every year, a new administration is elected, and they come in, and they, for lack of a better phrase, reinvent the wheel every single year. You know, well, let's redo this process. Let's redo this process. Well, we've done that this year, except this year it's actually really excellently, very well done. We have extensive bylaws in place. We passed a new constitution. We have new branch rules. This is what we spent the year doing, is updating what we have, and now we found something that works. So why change it next year? There are a few things that need to be tweaked, but we can strengthen what we have, especially with relationships with administration, with our processes now, our relationships between our three branches. And coming from Senate, I think that I'm in a great position to bring the Senate perspective into the presidency as well. I know how to work with Senate, and I think that's something that goes very far. But I think the emphasis needs to not be, again, redoing everything. We have a lot of great stuff here, but what can we do a little bit better, but not change it? We've had great leadership this year, honestly, but let's keep that up. And this kind of goes along with our slogan, really catchy, hopefully, but keep it slow, vote for Enslin and Bro. You know, let's just not freak out and not change everything, but let's just make better what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. And Tommy.
Yeah, so I'd like to second that, actually. The administration this year has done a great job of setting the foundation for all the student governments to come, and we neither are planning on completely reinventing the wheel. But something that I'm actually really, really excited about for next year is furthering our commitments to sustainability on campus. So I just want to give a shout out real quick to Sean Franks. Sean Franks has been instrumental in some major changes on campus. He was the driving force in having Southern Oregon University be the first university in the nation, if not the world, to completely offset our water usage. We have completely offset our energy usage. Sean Franks and I went up to Portland, actually, earlier in the year and presented at the Oregon Social Business Challenge, talking about the 2-acre all-organic student-run farm that we are now in the process of constructing next to our sustainability center down by ScienceWorks. This farm will provide students with basically free, fresh, locally grown agriculture. Excuse me. So I'm pretty stoked about that. The other thing that I'm really excited about, besides the sustainability efforts on campus, like getting solar panels, $100,000 solar panel placement on the ASSOU, is really, well, it's really going into our community and taking advantage of the resources that we have here surrounding us. Now, I don't know if you all are aware, but Ashland is a pretty special place, for one, and a pretty damn crazy place, for two. But that's not a bad thing, okay? So we have tremendous resources in the community, from the Bramo Electric Vehicle Factory to Pacific Domes, who are creating and revolutionizing the way that you build greenhouses for food production, the way you revolutionize housing for people. We have permaculture experts, world-class permaculture experts who live in Ashland yet don't work with the school. I want to go out and contact those people so that we can start certifying people in permaculture, offering permaculture certificates to our students through the school on the farm, okay? SOU leads the nation in sustainability efforts. And if we're talking about distinguishing this institution, if we're talking about attracting students here, not only from California, not only from Washington, but from around the nation and around the world, that's the direction that we need to go. And that's the direction I'm happy to say we will be going, we are going, and we will continue to go. So thank you.
Thank you. And now for the closing statements. I'm going to flip it from the order that we started. We're going to start with Jasmine and go to the left. My left, anyways. So, Jasmine, your closing statement, please.
Sure. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about empowering students, and I guess just in closing, I'll keep it short, but we definitely do think that the best way to do that is to provide you all with the tools that you need to reach your goals, whether that be through streamlining our student fee processes, through providing you all with the opportunities to be more engaged on campus, really reaching out and engaging you all on a visibility level. As student government, we do know that that's a responsibility for us. And just in the spirit of service and solidarity is how we approach our work. At least Tori and I have definitely talked about that, and that is our understanding of what the roles of student body president and vice president would be. And just really providing you all with an affordable and accessible student experience here at Southern Oregon University, and a campus community that is definitely free from oppression. So, you know, it is your future, it is your education, it is your choice, and we really want you all to empower yourselves and come out and vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Tommy.
So I'd just like to thank you all for coming out tonight. You know, this is the first step in achieving a engaged, informed, and active community, something that we're all, I think, looking to foster. You know, all I can say is that Max and I, for one reason or another, genuinely care about public education, and we genuinely care about those people, you in this room tonight, who attend our public institutions. I was born and raised in San Francisco, and I attended public school my whole life. And that experience broadened my view of the world. I was able to meet kids who kept Uzis in their lockers. I was able to meet kids who came from families of crackheads and were the first ones to graduate from college. Public institutions are the backbone of our society, and public institutions right now are under threat. Okay, this local governance board process that's happening, another thing which how many of y'all know about? Shift to local governance board. How many of y'all who are not in student government know about? Okay, see, this is another problem. Okay. The local governance board process is looking at breaking up the OUS system and transitioning incrementally, not immediately, our public universities towards private institutions. This is something that is absolutely unacceptable. It's something that will marginalize many of us, and something that will price many of us out of an education. That's not good for anyone. It's not good for me, it's not good for you, it's not good for our society. Max and I will work, I promise you. We will work tirelessly. We will work professionally. We will work day in and day out to fight for you. And we need you to stand there next to us. We need you talking to us, letting us know your issues, telling us your stories. Because that's the only way we're going to change anything. So I hope that you all see fit to elect Max and I as your student body president and vice president. But I want you to know that we will be working for you regardless. So whether or not, regardless of the outcome of this election, I want to thank you all sincerely. And I'll see y'all out there on the front lines come tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, Andrew.
Well, I think this debate has served to bring awareness to a lot of serious issues, and a lot of students that are here hopefully leave this a lot more informed of the issues that are going on campus, and pick someone that they hope will do the things that is right for the institution and for school, for students. Again, college years are some of the most important years in a person's life. They can really impact just so much about you. I can't even begin to tell you what I've been through since I've been here at college. But this institution has the ability to impact a lot of people. But we need to make sure that those resources, those opportunities are available for the next group of students coming along. And I know I said that during the opening remarks, but that is just so critical. And focusing on higher education as a whole is something that it does change it changes the state, the nation, and the world. I mean, a more educated society, it's proven that a more educated populace, they do great things. And I know I'm speaking kind of broadly, but it's true. And the fact is that we're all up here asking for your vote, but we're all here with passion in our hearts and hoping that you do what is best for yourselves and for the school. And again, I do have to echo what Tommy's saying as well, that no matter how this turns out, we'll be involved somehow, because that's what we're here for, is serving the students. It's not about the office. If this doesn't turn out the way that any one of us are hoping, we'll find another position to help out students and to make that process happen. But what I would challenge everyone here to do is, when you leave, make your decision based on what our records are. What have we done in the past? And judge on that. Not just what we're saying, but what have we actually done? And that's my closing remark. That's all I can say. Quick shout out, I've got a lot of, Daniel and I have had a lot of really great support from folks on campus, and the friendship and everything that folks are doing for us means a lot to me. And that's from the heart. I really mean that. There's no way that I would be here today if it weren't for them. It really does mean a lot. But that being said, thank you all very much for showing up. I mean, this isn't always the most exciting thing in the world, but definitely applause. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, everybody. So we do have 2 tiny iPads in the back. They take about 40 seconds to vote, in case you've made your decision. We also have a few printed candidates guides that are also available online. And please, for the candidates who can stick around, I know that everybody has a schedule, feel free to mingle and ask questions to them directly. We're going to end this session here and wrap up the video, put it on the website. You can vote at sou.edu/ASSOU. All you have to do is log into your MySOU account or use your student email. You also could find that email. We sent it to you this morning. It's called Elect Your Student Government Now, I believe. And with no further ado, one last pause, and let's close this up. Thank you.
Good.